I envy you with your ability to get all this happiness from material possessions. You want to put on your mic? You want to get into this?
No! And,
I care about the dumbest things in the world. Oh!
How much RAM do I have? I need more RAM.
You have 16?
I need 48.
16's good?
How many is 48? More? That's better?
That's several 16s.
That's better?
Well, it's more.
Yeah, I should probably do that.
So obviously.
All right!
Wait! Am I going to say my name, or are you going to say my name?
What would you prefer?
Because I keep going, and then sometimes...
Well, then the times that I let you do it, you dropped it, so I say it anyway.
I just go, oh,
Would you prefer to say your name or not?
I think you should say, and I should do the thing. So
Okay.
I can create a dynamic.
All right, welcome back to another episode of We Watch the Thing.
What are you talking about?
That's correct. Hello.
And I'm Lee.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of We Talkin B'out. As always, I'm Zim.
And I'm Lee.
And today, our topic is...
Oh, okay. It's my turn. All right, so this came up a little while ago. I was talking to my folks I was visiting over the weekend. They just bought a car. You just bought a car, I know. Mm-hmm. There's been some car issues and some other buying of things issues that got me thinking about how bad I am at that whole process. Because my dad could, relate. I don't think anyone's as bad as me, but you're really good at it. So I want to talk about what the hell goes on there. Let me give you a quick...
Okay.
First of all, because they had to get a car fixed, and they bought a new car, and they did a trade, and all this goofy shit was happening for them. But they described the process of trying it and the being inside the Shark Tank and all that stuff, and then as part of their story, they said, well, we called our guy. They have a guy. We called David from Jiffy Pop Lube and stuff, and then you're like, oh, and asked him is this a good model? Should we get this? And he was like, oh, those are very reliable. And I was thinking wow, they have a guy. I don't have anyone. Everything fucking sucks. I don't have someone I can just call about cars. And I just take my car to the dealership. I'm that bad with it. And when I bought my car, I was just I will pay for this car, and they were okay, robots buying cars. I did not make any attempt. I thought about, there was some thing for $1,000 where you get some insurance, and I was I want that, but I want it for free. I'm gonna get that for free. And then we walk in, and he's punching it up, and he's like, oh, this sticker's wrong. Yeah, it says 22, it's actually 21. And I was like, all right, fuck, there's no, that's the free insurance. God fucking damn it.
Got it, $100 off. So. The biggest, real quick, I have to chime in.
Sure.
Have you watched King of the Hill in its entirety recently?
Are you up to date with what?
There's
an episode for this.
King of the Hill. Hank goes to the same guy. He has a guy that he buys cars from, and this guy, he's been buying cars since he bought his first car, and every time he buys a car, he goes to the same guy, and every time he's paid sticker. And he doesn't know any better. He thought this guy is helping him out and hooking him up and blah blah blah, and then They tell him, Hank, you never pay sticker. And he's like, what do you mean? And he realizes he's been getting, fucked for, years and years and years and years. So
is there a montage of the guy just counting money, and all that stuff?
There might be. But so that's just what you reminded me of. You're Hank Hill.
I'm 100% Hank
Hill. That boy ain't right.
100%.
So,
Dad,
in general, my
don't pay sticker.
So I definitely was fucked the first time I bought a car.
Okay.
Because I needed it right then. Okay. I had having the sense of urgency is always going to be a little bit of a thorn in your side. But if you don't actually need the car right now, or are willing to not have it right now, you can get a much better deal.
Sure.
So when we had to get Babs's car,
that's the catchphrase, right? Is you got to be ready to walk away. You got to walk away.
Oh no, I've walked away
you.
many times, and kind of like how you've seen me talk to anyone I don't care about.
Yeah.
I'll be a dick.
Sure.
I don't give a shit about you.
I'll never see you again. About.
Kinda. But especially...
You just be brutal with them. You're okay, whatever.
I don't give a shit. So I'll point out every flaw. I'll point out every bullshit. I'll make up shit about other places that had the same thing with a better deal.
Right.
And I'll eventually just leave. And they usually ask for your phone number and stuff first. And I'm like, well, they'll call me back. Okay. And they do. And whether I answer or not, if I've already found a better deal and moved on or not, I'll pick up and I'll start the whole process over again.
Process of bullshit.
But when we were buying when I was buying my mom a car, this is when I had a good amount of time to this. So we went
done
to
this a couple times in the last couple of years. Yeah.
So we went to 20 dealerships, and I know how much I want to spend. I know what they have, and I know like if they're trying to fuck me. And because I don't need it that day, I'll be a brutal whore with you.
Yeah.
And you just give like, well, what are you looking to spend? And I'll be like, they're like, this car is $7,000, and I'm like, all right, thanks, and I just walk out like, hey, what are you doing?
Hey, big guy,
and,
hey,
before you
champ,
get a chance or anything, I'll walk away, and then they'll say something like, well, I'm looking for this, and they'll be like, and then I'll have my blue book information down. I'll be like, well, it's worth this, and I don't know why you're charging that. This mileage is actually higher than one there, and just keep saying things at them, and you be a dick, and like they hate you because you're cutting into their commission. Right. But at the end of the day, if they want to sell it at all, they're going to sell it to you or not, and you walk away and do it again, and eventually you'll find a better deal
until it like works out or whatever.
And I kept doing that, and I walked out on like 6-7 people that were like, it was like, okay, you could just sign here. I'm like, fuck you, and I'll walk away. And I eventually got my mom a Honda Civic. It was a 2003. It had 16,000 miles on it, and I paid, I think, like $5,000 for it.
That seems good.
I was very pleased with that.
Sure.
She's been driving that car for years now. Has had like no issues.
Yeah.
We had similar things with buying the truck, buying the other Honda, where like you just
So I've never been there when you've done it. I've been there for some other stuff, but not for the specific like car thing.
Cars are and like.
Cars are special.
Well, cars are easier because I know enough about what cars are worth and how many there are in the world, and that there are a lot of options. As long as there are options, like people try to haggle with you about little things where like, if I'm the only show in town, you can't haggle with me. I have the power. It's about who has the power. Like if I'm trying to buy your stool, I can't say you're like $20. It's on Craigslist. I'm gonna buy that. And you're like, well, this is my stool. There are not other stools like this one. If you want this one, it's $20. I'll give you $15. Walk away. I'm only selling it for $20. But a car, that same Honda is in every dealership. It's a common ass car.
This is helping. I'm feeling something here. Let me give you So I have a couple of problems that are keeping me from doing this.
Sure.
One is a crippling social anxiety and inability to talk to people.
Okay.
So that's a speed bump in this process.
That could be a hurdle.
I'm going to keep things to road analogies. I don't like the process of haggling. Whenever I say, this fucking thing sucks, I know that they're like, he's just saying it sucks to try to get less money. I'll just say no. And I'm like, okay, like I have no like mechanisms to handle this. I hate leaving the house. I hate the process of buying a car. And even if I have all the time in the world, I'm like, I just want it to be done. I just want to get a car and then stop buying a car and start doing something else. I just want to go on the internet and look at links on Reddit. I just don't want to be doing this.
And I can totally get behind that feeling. I feel that way about a lot of things.
Well, but the worst part is that all feeds into and is like balanced by the fact that I have a decent amount of money. I have a good, decent paying job, so I don't have that overwhelming pressure of like, no, you have to hustle and make shit happen, or I'm just like, like it's fine, I guess. So I just get fucked. It's horrible.
Well, it's good to be fucked and for things to be horrible, but
is it?
No, it's not. But I'd say you're not in a bad position in this case. Like it could be a lot worse. Like if it was somebody pressuring you in some other respect rather than just like monetarily, you could be in a worst case scenario.
Well, that's why, because the monetary situation's flowing okay.
If they were pushing you to like, give me your fingers, I'm gonna cut off your fingers.
Stop
you're like,
cutting off my fingers.
I like cutting off your fingers.
I need those fingers. I somehow ended up on the Wikipedia page for torture.
And when you say somehow ended up, how did that happen?
Because of the internet. You're doing something and something happens.
I was searching Rainbow Bright, and then someone said bright lights, and then it said blinders, and then someone said I blinded people.
Oh, they did. They would put like molten metal in your face. And they would like crush your fingers and cut. It's horrible. I was on like wikipedia.com/torture for like, I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I reading about Chinese?
I read something that said
torture?
The Iron Maiden was never actually used.
Well, the best looking torture is not you gotta think they were doing like the cheapest things, the most portable things, the most like whatever, like the best looking, most elaborate torture devices were not as used as much as the. I read the Wikipedia page on torture.
Like a visual deterrent, right? Like the king would keep that thing
cool
like next to him and be like, oh, we're gonna put you in the blah blah if you don't come back with the gold. And like,
but you have to like smelt those and make them, and how many can you make? And you put a guy in there and he's bleeding, and then you gotta wait. Okay, you're next. We're gonna wait for this guy. Yeah, everything. It's terrifying.
That's why the noose is so good.
Can't talk about it. It's so horrible. Oh my god. All right. Why did I say that though? It's not about torture. It's torture to
Is it
go
love,
try to
harm,
buy a car. No,
about
because
cutting your fingers off.
I get fucked monetarily, which is okay, but I'm being fucked by these brutal fuckists who are like, they are like set up to fuck against you.
Yes.
And they come at me. Like, they're these fucking, like, Navy SEALs snorting mustard gas.
Oh,
and
so
doing,
they're
like,
overkilling
doing,
you.
like, Jean-Claude
You're
Van
like
Damme.
walking in with
They're
a white fucking...
Yeah, I come in like... I come in flowing robes. I'm the philosopher king. I'd like to negotiate a treaty. And they're like, ah! And they see me coming and they just go, like,
punch you
fucking
in your neck
full
and take your
bore.
wallet.
Yeah, it's horrible. They put me in the Iron Maiden, which is... supposedly, I'm in there. I'm not supposed to do this.
I've had a couple friends over the years that have been car salesmen, and it seems to be the worst job in the world. And I totally feel for these people. Like this one dude would get there when they open, and they open at like 8 o'clock, and he wouldn't leave until they close, and they close at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they don't get paid hourly; they get paid in commission, only in commission.
Right.
And if he doesn't sell anything, he doesn't get any money. And he's stood all day, generally in a suit, outside in the heat. And he's outside, not in the air conditioning, because he wants to be the first guy to meet you when you get out of the car.
Yeah.
That's the worst shit ever.
That's horrible.
Like, there's two things. I don't like salary anymore because I don't like being fucked, and I don't like commission. Because in both those situations, you can get fucked mercilessly. Like, I hate it.
I don't like selling in general, and then you just put all that shit on top of it.
No,
like,
I don't like
fuck.
having to...
Being
I
the
wanna
salesman and doing all like, oh, god damn. That's horrible to me. When I bought my last car, the guy who sold it to me was this, like, we, like, talked a lot. He, like, gave me a ride to the other place to drop off my rental and then back to do the car, I imagine, for the sweet commission.
Uh-huh.
But, he had all these stories, or he had a story about how, like...
He told it 6 times.
Well, his story is what I meant to say first, and I just had to sort of keep talking, because you can't ever stop talking when you're talking.
It's true.
And, his story was that he used to be a bartender.
Okay.
So he had this, and he was, like, maybe in his 40s or 50s or whatever, and, like, can't get a job as a bartender anymore. And it was funny, because I thought about musicians.
Because only beautiful girls get jobs as bartenders now?
And he literally, he said something that I can't quite repeat, but it's just like, it's a bunch of like girls and like gay dudes or whatever think that they couldn't mix a drink to save their life, and they're just throwing shit around, flirting and all that shit. They're fucking idiots. Bunch of guys think she's gonna go home with you. She ain't going. You're a fucking loser. He's talking like that because we're friends now.
But it's
I'm
true.
paying $2,000 too much for the car, so we're friends. So we got to talk about all that. But it made me think about like because my dad's a musician and he still plays, and he doesn't talk in quite the same tones because he kind of gets it, but like he played in like 8-piece wedding bands where now it's like, well, 1.5 people can show up with like a fucking disc changer, and like it's like, well, so they split the money 2 ways. It's like, no, now that part of the wedding just costs so much less, and you can't have an 8-piece wedding band, and they don't want that anyway, and you're just like getting phased out, and you go become a used car salesman or something like that. And I was just like, ugh, it was like gross. It's like no one was having fun while I was buying this car. Everyone was having like, ugh, like a bad time of their life, basically.
No, it's a ridiculous thing, but it's so true about that. Like when you see people, I just was on the, where was I? I was driving for some extended period of time. Oh, yeah, I was driving in the rental van to for a move, and I was listening to the radio because it didn't have my CD player or my iPod or whatever in it, and one of the things they were talking about was strippers, and they're like strippers don't make money anymore, and I was like, oh, and they were like, yep, the bartenders have all the money, and I'm like that's very interesting. They're like, people will still go to strip clubs because apparently there's an atmosphere there. Now I've never been to a strip club before.
Thank God. No, and I feel weird about that. I feel like I should have gone.
To me, so as a cheap bastard who doesn't enjoy spending money on things that are dumb, the idea of paying money to go into a place to see ladies dance around, it doesn't do much for me because I'm like, well, they're looking at you like you're some pitiful schmuck. Like, why would you want to go there?
Yeah,
and it's like a gross. For me, it's a gross atmosphere where I'm like, it's a bunch of skeezy idiots here. Like,
well, and like I'm projecting a whole backstory when I try to negotiate for like a car deal. Imagine what would go through my head if a girl's pretending to like me so I can give her dollars. No, I didn't mean like that. I meant like me thinking like, oh, she's just pretending. This is weird. I don't like this.
I picture that same way you lost $2,000 on the car.
Just like money, but not like.
like you've never even unbanded it. You have like 10 bands, and you're like
it just hits her in the face.
you get kicked out for hurting the stripper,
right?
But
You're throwing thing at the stripper.
But they were saying that
for me, it was like oh, dude, we're gonna go out and see some like naked ladies, and it's like okay, so like you and all these other guys want to go like drink alcohol and get hard-ons together in the same room. That's kind of weird. And they're like, no, dude, you leave all your clothes on. She takes all of her clothes off, and I'm like, but then how do you fuck them? You're not allowed to fuck them. You can't even touch them. It's great. He spent a lot of money, and I was like, this sounds like the worst night of my life. Why would I do this?
I can't. As a person, especially who doesn't drink, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I can imagine.
Right? No, you spend lots of money. You give lots of money on booze, and you give the girls lots of money. And if you give them even extra money, they'll kind of touch you, but you can't touch them, and you're gonna get thrown out.
I went once.
Seems frustrating.
I went once to a go-go bar. You ever been to a go-go bar?
Never been to any of these.
So a go-go bar is just people in bikinis like messing around. And I went with Timmy.
Sure.
And Timmy's
I would go anywhere with Timmy. I would break my strip club streak.
Timmy is way more entertaining than any strip club. He got so drunk that he dropped a glass of beer that was like full, and it just shatters all over the ground. And like nobody even cleaned it up. It was that shady of a place. Where like, yeah, happens. I'm like, where are we?
Someone's party foul.
What town were we in? We were in like, I don't know, some horrible town, and
some town that sounds like a real town, but it's not that town. It's a similar.
It wasn't Irvington, but it was something that reminds me of Irvington.
Edmonton.
I don't know, but regardless, so we're there, and that was my closest exposure to this, and I was like, this is dumb, and like people are just giving money. That and like just like you're like you go to a bar with some friends that are like alcoholics. You've been here, right?
I've been to a bar, yes.
I have a friend who I'm not going to name on here, but he'll show up to the bar and he'll have all the money he's planning on spending that night, and he sits it on the bar, right? So that gets him more attention from the bartender.
Yeah, no, they love him.
Because people now are not going for strippers, they're going for bartenders. So he's going for this bartender, and she sees he has like I'll say like $100 like just on the bar. And but no, it's probably like $200 in 20s.
Okay, I was going to say
it was a good stack, but it was all 20. So every drink he got, however, I don't know how much these drinks were costing, but every drink he gave her a 20.
Yeah,
no change, and he spent the full like $200.
I don't think it's hard to. Yeah,
it was not hard
that
for
fast.
him.
Fuck.
But it was this is an amazing thing to watch. Where I'm like, huh, just ripping through that wallet.
He's so happy though, right?
Yeah, he was happy as a fucking clam. But this is where people's money is. I love when people go like, I got
Why don't I have any money?
I go, how often are you going to the bar? How often are you going out to dinner?
Yeah.
How often are you just being an idiot? Like cigarettes, drugs, booze. These are things that make you not have money.
Well, they cost money.
They cost money.
Very easy to spend a lot.
And when most people don't have much money, and these things cost 8%, you have that and you have rent, and then you have nothing left.
I never liked going to the bar for drinking purposes. It was just to chill and stuff. So I always do that thing where you're like, I guess I'm supposed to tip. Like she gives you the change, and you're like, am I coming back? Do I need more? This is probably okay. And you like put a certain amount versus a certain amount or whatever. It's this dumb game. It's gross. Yeah. I hate that shit.
So to circle all the way back around,
why are people paying bartenders and not strippers?
They were saying on the radio that they're paying bartenders and not strippers, and they said because strippers have gotten like the level of respect where you're like no one believes that the stripper's going home with you. Everyone believes the stripper is like, they're just paid to like you. But people still, for some reason, believe that strippers, that bartenders are not faking it. The bartenders actually like you, actually might go home with you. They're classier. They said that strippers have fallen off, where now like they're not showing up like they said that like the 90s and 80s, where people were like had like $200 shirts on and blah blah, like they were real classy. And now that's the bartender, and just like to be a stripper, you're just like a whore apparently.
Yeah.
And again, this is all what
I thought you were gonna say like
Charlemagne and
I thought you were gonna say internet porn has made it so like the allure of the stripper.
Oh
like,
no!
We live in like a different world now, right?
They did tap on to a thing where they said why would someone go to a strip club when they could just go on Snapchat or Instagram and they'll see these models that are like perfect tens jiggling and wiggling, and I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much of a. I think it was more of our previous generation that was more into the strip clubs.
Well, and as everything goes, like before they're like it's like, well, there used to be jobs. Well, yeah, there used to not be machines. Like a lot of things are just going to be gone in a few years.
Yeah, now we all fuck robots.
China, not the wrestler, the actual location. Is like switching over high impact into robots now, and they said like it's just destroying them.
That's weird.
And by them I mean like their people.
Yeah, I mean, China's one of those. China and India, I happen to know some dumb things about that. They have a weird thing where, like, labor is so cheap there, like, humans are so cheap, that a lot of businesses are structured in, like, different ways. Where, like, here, we would have, like, 32 people. 20 of them operate like backhoes and forklifts and like machines and all that stuff.
But there are 1,000 guys that have hammers and they just hit the ground.
No,
until it digs a
yeah.
trench.
It's like literally because once you have 3,000 people, like 1,000 of them are just bossing around the other 2,000 in like little groups and pockets, and there's guys with buckets and guys with little shovels, and they literally dig the same size trench. And it still takes like 5 months or whatever, but it's literally a whole town springs up or something like that. It's this crazy shit. So if they have robots now, they're going to be unstoppable.
Well, yes, but maybe they're robots.
Why would they build
it's
robots?
just this dude's in a hamster wheel, and that's maybe it's
a big clockwork nightmare. It's just made of 5 dudes like Voltron. So okay. It becomes the fullest of all circles. No, so my main, so I'm we're talking about the car buying thing, and my main like punchline, my main like experience with the whole thing is I walk in and I'm like, well, I would like to not pay for that, and they're like, why would we do that? Why would we give you something and not charge you for it? And I go, fair enough, okay, I will pay for that, and that's like the entire like journey. One time my stepdad, I like went to get my car fixed. I was older. He used to go and like handle it or whatever, and I was older, and I don't think it was my first time, but I had to get some work done, some dumb thing on my car. I went to like a Meineke, I think, where he knew the guys, and like they knew me from him and all that shit or whatever. And he was like, yeah, so go down, talk to Joe, whatever the fuck his name was, whatever. See if he would, see if he could do a better deal. If he was like, go to the bank first, go to the ATM, get some cash, and then see if he'll give you a better deal if you if you pay cash. You should have seen me trying to like say this awkward like thing of like, I have cash. Is that maybe we could something about? I almost was like, I'm sorry, and just like left and ran out and got in my broken car and like drove
I've done
home.
this
It was
for
super
a bunch
awkward.
of things with people because you're usually a business or a person like me in specific. If you pay me cash, I can give you a better rate because I'm not paying fucking the interest and the bullshit of the fees.
Credit card fees now and stuff.
I don't have to pay tax on it because I just put it in my pocket and say it never happened.
Yes.
So like I've done this many times where I establish same thing with like how I get a deal. Like I'll make sure I know the price before I give you a coupon or before I know anything, so that I know that like you're not fucking me. So like I go, how much does that cost? $20. All right, and I have a $2 coupon. Rather than me give you my $2, I go, okay, that'll be $20. And I'm like, all right, you fucked me. Like, or they're like, that's $20. I go, I'm paying cash. Can you do any better than that? Like,
so I should have just said I'm paying cash. Can't do any better than that. But I had this weird feeling. Of
I'm paying
hello,
with paper money.
Hello, Mr. Thompson. No, like I thought it was like illegal or something to like charge less if it's cash or whatever. And I thought like I shouldn't just say it. I should say it in some like other way or whatever. Now,
hey,
listen,
do you like to party? 'Cause
hey,
I've been known to party.
Are you cool, Mr. Meineke, man? No, like I thought
I might have some gold if you have the Midas touch.
That's just at the strip club where you say that. That's crazy. No, so like I have paid less for things in cash, but it's always been I've been like, okay, like how much? Like your car gets towed or some, and you're like, well, how much? And they're like, you got cash? And I'm like, what are we talking? He's like $250, like, and like you like do a thing like that. I never had to be and this guy I think was having fun with it because he was intentionally dense and being like, no, that's the price. What? He like didn't know what the hell I was talking about. He was like some crazy character out of a movie. It was horrible.
Are you coming on to me?
It's like, no, sir, I do not sell marijuana, and I will fix your brakes. And you're like, okay, thank you.
I would love if he said that. I would love that so much.
Like arrested or something like that.
Like there's a cop and there's, no, I won't sell you
marijuana.
Did you ever have this kid in school, like the one who just escalated his voice so loud to like fuck you in any given situation?
It would answer the thing.
No,
yeah,
you'd be like,
I know what you mean.
You'd be like, no, man, let me have it. And you'd be like, stop touching me! And they're like, dude, what the fuck?
I thought you were.
I'm just talking.
No, we will. We had a dude in our school who was kind of like Jim Carrey or whatever.
Okay.
I think he's either now a park ranger or in jail. I forget which
Could
one.
be a park ranger in jail.
I forget which one he is or something like that. But he had like the rubber face and like the crazy gift of gab or whatever. And I forget what he said, and I've been trying to stall and like think of a funny thing that would make sense or whatever. But it was literally like a girl was doing something, and he was like, "No, I will not fuck you," or some weird thing like that in class. And they were like again, Joey, get out of here, whatever the fuck. He's like, she was trying to touch my penis or something. He was like going crazy about it or something.
And now he'd go to jail for that.
And he was just, well, yeah, now like he'd be on medicine or have to go be expelled. But yes, like you know when they're like go to the office, he's just like, well, good, it probably smells better there or something like that. And you're just like, what is this crazy person in class? And
My favorite go to the office thing ever was in our history class in high school is like Jankwitz and I were in this class together, and routinely we'd be fucking up, but always Jankwitz would get sent to the office.
Not you.
Not me. Not me.
Yes.
And he'd always get to the office, and then like one time I forget how it went down. Like I threw a volleyball and I was trying to hit him, or he tipped it away or something, and it nailed the teacher right in the face. And immediately he's like, "Something, go to the office." And I'm like, "All right, was that so?" And like Jenkins goes, "Fucking yes! Finally!" He's like, "Sit down, Mark. You're going to the office." And he's like, "Whoa!" And so
it's like,
so I walk down. I go to the office, and I go in there. I'm like, "Hey, is Rich here?" And it's like, "Oh no, he's at lunch." I go, "All right," and I walked back up, and I come back in, I'm like, "Principal wasn't in there," and he goes, "Sit down." And James goes, "What the fuck?" He goes, "Mike, go to the office."
That is literally out of a movie. Oh my god, it's great.
It was my favorite thing, I think, in all of history class.
I went to the office twice, I think.
I was there all the time.
One time it was because I won an award.
My favorite thing about going to the office is that, like, I don't know if things change, but in general they would just say, "Go to the office." And
very unclear what's supposed to happen.
They would never, like, call and say, like, "Okay, I'm sending down ball."
They would ask you why you were there.
Yes.
And you're like...
So, most of the time, I would just go to the bathroom, wait for the period to end, and go somewhere else.
Well, there you go.
And if it ever caught up to me, what am I going to do? Get in more trouble because I didn't go to the office? I'm sorry, I had diarrhea. Like, oh, no, I didn't want to be late for my next class. Like,
I have constant diarrhea.
Oh, man, it's such bullshit. Life was fun.
Do you want to know why I went to the office?
Why'd you go to the office? What was the one time you went to the office? Why'd you go to the office? You.
I was in, like, the cooking class or whatever.
And you farted?
No, it was like, we were like... Because, like, it was everything from, like, the beginning to the eating to, like, the end and, like, the doing of the dishes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And we were just fucking around because we had, like, a fun... Like, you get some of, like, your friends together or whatever, and you meet people and you form, like, one group that's, like, not taking it seriously, which is how...
Yeah, how I took every class.
That's how you lived your entire life, but I only did that with things like cooking or something like that. But so, literally, we were, like, goofing around, laughing. It was like, hey, guys, like, chill. And we were like, no, and back and forth. And at some point, I, like, slid a plate on the floor from where you eat to like the sink, and my friend stopped it with his foot and then like picked it up and washed it, and she was like, "That's it, Lee, go to the office," or whatever. And so literally the principal,
I was sliding a plate.
The principal, who was this gigantic Punisher bald dude or whatever the fuck, was like, "What are you doing here? Like, why are you here?" Whatever. Had like an accent like that too, and I'm like, I slid a plate across the floor, and he's like, "What?" It was this like great thing. It was amazing. But I was so young. I was so younger and even weirder that I like didn't know how to turn into like a funny thing. So just like I don't know what to do here. And he was like, I guess I'll talk to Mrs. McNamara, whatever the fuck, but whatever. It was like, go, like, what are you doing? Like, it was this crazy thing. And the other time, I had smoked pot before school, and after like first or second period, it was like, please report to the office, following people, and it was like several people, including me. And like the first time I heard it, I was like, I didn't hear that. It didn't happen. Nope. I'm just not gonna go. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Kill me? And I just like went to my next class, and then after that class, it was like, what about people from our office? And it was just one girl now and like me, and I was like, oh god, they're gonna kill us one by one. They know. And it was like none of my friends or whatever. So after that, I still didn't go, and then someone who like knew or something was like, hey, they're calling you to go to the office, and I'm like, I guess this is it. And I go, and like they took my picture for the newspaper. Me and this girl won this like academic achievement award. Her name was Jessica or something like that. And I'm just like, and like the picture, it was amazing. Where I'm like, okay. It It was literally, but for like the entire time where they're like, well, you probably don't know why you're here, and I'm like, oh god, but only inside, like outside, I'm just like nothing, because you have to.
Outside, he was sweating profusely, his eyes were bulging and
yeah, no, you're just like, oh god, I don't know what to do. It was great, but for the whole time, the taking of the picture, the doing all this stuff, I'm like, this is an elaborate ruse to put me in jail. This is crazy. Why would they do all this?
Say I want a prize, and when I sign it, it's really a confession.
Is that what they do? I didn't read this. Yeah, so I got like a little thing, some sort of like achievement in the sciences or whatever.
I spent so much time in the office because I went to a technical school half days, so I would have to sign myself in and out every day to go to school.
So you're like, hey Carol, what's up, Tina?
It was
a fly jacket.
We're like, and because I went
sending you to the office, you're like you have no power here.
And I went to zero period, so I was in school before everyone else. So like the principal would always like, I'd see him like every day. There was like it was yeah, it was like, what's up?
Word.
Sons of bitches. And I was a painter who would paint the schools every summer. So like I see this guy literally all year round from before I was even in that school.
So when they're like, Simkin, that's it, go talk to your friend.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And
he's like, so you're back again. You're like, I am.
As teachers do not get paid very well, a lot of teachers are on staff as painters also.
Oh jeez.
And so like you'd be like with other people.
I'd be
like, I know little side like fucking joke stories about these people.
Right? So it's like literally.
My favorite was this one guy who was like a semi, I guess you'd say like privileged person who had never painted, I guess, in their life. And like he's painting, he has a paint roller, and I go, alright, we're gonna change the colors, take that one off and put a new one on. And like your average human like smashes it off into a garbage can and shoots off the roller.
But I wouldn't have known that unless I'd seen someone else do it.
At the very least, you'd put it maybe in a garbage bag and pull it off.
Yes.
He grabs it with his hand and pulls it off. And right when it gets off, he looks at me. And I'm looking at him like, and we lock eyes. And he goes, "There's probably a better way to do this."
I was just gonna say he had that look of like, I don't know how to do this, but I know it's not like this.
It was
oozing through his fingers.
It was a very thick nape brush. So like when he squeezes it, it's like his whole hand is covered in paint. He's like, there must be a better way to do this.
I can feel it on my hand just by the telling of the story.
Let me tell a story that guy had real quick. So that guy was not too much older than me. In college, he gets really drunk and he goes back to his dorm after a party. And he goes into the dorm and he gets in the bed and there's somebody in his bed. And he's like, what the fuck? He goes, hey, get out of my bed. And this girl's like, and he's like, she's fucking drunk. He's like, get out of my bed. And she's like, and he goes, fine, fuck it. And he pulls out the covers and he goes, and he goes to bed. And he's like, so I wake up the next morning and I'm like thinking she'll be gone. She's not gone. She's still there. I look over. This isn't my room.
I look over.
He's in the wrong room.
There's a poster of The Cure. I don't remember that poster being here.
Something about that was like my favorite story.
Bunch of nail polish.
And she's like, nah. But like, who is like, if anybody ever went into my room and like got in, let alone try to push me out of bed, they're dead.
It was a simpler time though. He would have been arrested. That's another thing where you would have been arrested for that now.
Yeah.
That
would have been rape.
That's considered rape.
You penetrated the covers. That's
Did
rape.
he leave before she woke up?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, she just like had this weird dream.
Yeah.
That this fucking idiot came in my room and tried to kick me out of bed. So I'm dreading the next time I have to buy anything like a car.
Well, you've got a while. I'll go with you
Hopefully.
next time.
I may just need you. I'll be like, let's go, make it happen. Fuck. Because next time I'm hoping not to have as much money. I'm hoping to structure my life in a whole different way. But are you
going to ride that car till it dies, or are you going to buy a new car before
I assume so, yeah.
Then you'll probably, like, how many miles do you have on that now?
What is it at now? 60?
60? Yeah, you got a while.
I do have a while.
What does Subaru usually get?
I don't know.
Mid-twos?
They're pretty good, though, yeah. Assuming no one hits me again, I should be fine.
Oh, if someone hits you, it's a free car.
Yeah, this was almost free.
Yeah.
But no, like, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I haven't even cultivated all the relationships that I would need. Because I don't have, like a car guy that I know, and, like, people, and, like, a place that I go. It's all just pure, like, Japanese robotic business where I just go to the dealership, and I pay them, and they charge me a bunch of stuff and fix things. And I'm like, I guess that was wrong, I don't care. And I know it, and I'm like, I should fix this someday, but I just keep putting it off forever. It's like I'm paying a tax for not spending the time on it or something like that. It's disgusting.
I've been there though, where I'm like, and we've both experienced this thing where it's like I would rather pay you an extra $30 for me to not have to do that.
Yeah,
like,
basically. And that's what I keep telling myself, where it's like, you know, well, you should probably just bring it to one of these local places and like chat the guy up and be like, you know, hey, and then talk, hey, oh, is this going, blah, blah, and then you'll form a relationship, and then you'll be able to talk to him, and you'll like be like, oh, hey, can I drop it off? And he'll be like, yeah, man, oh, you're the best. But then I'm like, how much would you pay to not have to do any of that? And then I think about how much I'm paying, and I'm like, that's fair. That's a fair price. I'm okay. It's delusional richness. It's horrible.
Speaking of a fair price, YouTube is free, and if you want to keep watching things like this, you hit that like and subscribe button. Till next time, don't die in a fire.